All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. We're gonna check its local and its city search and see if it's got BSS, things like that. So we're back here in the GBC universe, where we take declining boudoir photographers, turn them into the #1 boudoir photographers in their city. Our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that in, whatever, pinned post, pinned video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if we're falling, we're missing somewhere on this, intent ladder. We're not capturing the amount of people we need to at each intent step or intent level. So we see over on the left, BSS, that's what we talk about here. That's the highest intent people doing, social search, Google search. And then over on the right, the lowest intent people, that's BLCS, that's our other brand, Boudoir Facebook Ad Doctor. That's where we're working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand per month on their boudoir Facebook ads. But BSS, that's what we care about today. So care about the highest intent people right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, and we're invisible. We're basically dead. And that's because that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past the first page. That's literally page 1 only. So those 20%ers, we don't care about them. We want to deal with the 80%. 80% is the bulk of people. Now, 1 slot on page 1 also is not good for us because we look like everyone else on page 1. If there's not other boudoir photographers and everyone's got 1 link, then the searcher, the buyer, is simply going to literally click and opens everyone's website, contact everyone. We don't stand out at all. Probably won't even remember our name. So boudoir search sameness, boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Extremely common, but it's not normal. Is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. First deeper root cause is market saturation, which most know about. The second one is the false belief of page 1 equality, which most people do not know about. Now, the market saturation, that's where it seems like every week someone gets a new iPhone, they throw up their Google My Business profile, and they say they shoot boudoir, they got their website up, they're competing with us to rank on page 1. Basically, more boudoir photographers over time competing for the same number of buyers, so it makes it harder, more difficult for everyone to compete. So that's consistently pushing people out of page 1 onto page 2, and effectively invisible to 80% of searchers that never even go to page 2. Now the new one here, we got the false belief of page 1 equality. This is new because people have kind of auto-accepted it because there's never really a word to describe this. For people to say, oh, I agree with that or disagree with that or I think it's true or false or whatever. But the false belief of page 1 is equality is basically assuming, getting 0 or 1 slot on page 1 of Google is the default. It's the norm. Everyone either has 0 slots or 1 slot, and maybe you had 1 slot on Google page 1, but market saturation puts us off to page 2. So all right, we got 0 slots on page 1, we got 1 slot on page 2, and all right, that's how it is. It's how being a boudoir photographer is. But no, actually, we can actually take as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the work for. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in 10 days. So this kind of page 1 equality assumption or like default belief, default assumption is 100% incorrect, which we'll see in a few more pictures down here. We also know that a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, it's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. I mean, if you got 0 slots on page 1, you're definitely disappearing. 1 slot on page 1, probably also disappearing as well because there may be some other people that got 2 slots on page 1, and we're not at 1 slot. We're not saying that at all. We're basically invisible. We're being price shopped against everyone. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine where once someone becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and they don't fight against it, then pretty soon, eventually, the entire business disappears as well. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine of what can happen in the next future in the business. So BSS, luckily we got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology. We invented this, been working on it for about 7 months now. We're liking the results so far, so we're bringing it to market. And to utilize S-cubed methodology, remember it's social search saturation, so we saturate search on Facebook search, Instagram search, TikTok search, YouTube search with what our people searching for boudoir photo shoots would be typing in. So we show up there. And once we do that, that actually flows over to Google. So saturating social search actually flows over to Google kind of as a byproduct, giving us multiple links on page one. And again, I went from 0 out of 10 links on page one to 9 out of 10 links on page one for what I wanted to rank for in 10 days. And so the magic about this is the only way someone can use this is if they crash, if they destroy that false belief of page one equality. Because once we use S-cubed methodology, and once you actually see these results I got, we'll realize, oh, that belief was actually false. Page one equality is not the norm. Google actually will give us as many links as we want to put in the effort to acquire, as many page one links. And so the second magical thing about S-cubed methodologies is it's the only thing I've seen that actually fights back against market saturation. So imagine if there's, we're a boudoir photographer in LA, and there's a total of 1 million boudoir photographers in LA. Everyone's got their own website. So everyone's, fiercely competing to be page one on Google. But imagine we take the S-cubed methodology to the extreme where we rank so hard for the highest intent keywords for people searching for boudoir photo shoots. And, we absolutely crush social search saturation, where literally like the first 300 slots of any and every search related to boudoir is us. So it's around all the social platforms that flows over to Google, and let's say the first 300 organic results on Google are only us as well, because we took S-cubed methodology to the max. So the fact that there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers actually doesn't matter to us, because for the first 300 slots, anywhere somebody looks for a boudoir photo shoot in LA, we're the only ones there. They got to go down to slot like 301, and Google is 10 organic slots per page, so they got to go to page like 31 to find another boudoir photographer. So whose business is still doing great? Ours, even though there's literally 999,999 other boudoir photographer competitors. So this is one of the special things about S-cubed methodology. It's the only thing I've seen that actually, builds momentum and helps us compete against market saturation. That can happen relatively quickly. The only other second thing would be brand. People doing branded searching for our brand specifically, but that takes years. So this is something that happens way faster than years to build a brand. And now once treated with S-cubed methodology, we now have page one visibility. So we're actually seen on page one, even though, we may have had one slot on page one, we're still kind of invisible. But with page one visibility, we got 2. Well, we go for the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here for local search and city search. But the added bonus is every new slot we take up on page one, we are kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible, because approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They stay on page 1. And as a result, kind of as we take 4 out of 10 slots, 5 out of 10 slots, 6 out of 10 slots, people searching for at least the 80%, the big chunk we're going for, they can only price shop us or compare us against 2, 3, 4 boudoir photographers instead of against 9, because they ain't going to page 2 anyways. And so this is one of the other bonuses. It's actually kicks our competitors out of basically being found. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, because we're no longer at a 0 or 1. We're no longer at 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and boudoir search for So we're actually standing out. Well, 0, 1. And we won't get to 3 because there may actually be someone else that has 2. I mean, One's most common, two is kind of rare. But if we got 3 out of 10, we're ultra rare. And we're definitely standing out against people that have 1 slot each, and still standing out against people that got 2 slots. It's probably only one other person. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. And this is our university disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Once we accept page 1 equality is false, now we know, okay, now we can tackle it, we can solve it. The only thing I know that can solve it is S-cubed methodology. It actually solves, the only thing I know that can solve both false belief of page 1 equality and market saturation. We achieve page 1 visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, so these are my results actually doing, so ranking for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So that's what I want to rank for. So we got the AI overview, got the Google Map Pack. Now looking at organic. So I got organic slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. So I got 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google. And this was after I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. And kicked everyone else off page 1. I took it over. And this is showing the power of the S-cubed methodology, where Google wants to give these page 1 slots to the people that want the page 1 slots the most, and to be relevant to the user search. So these slots are always up for grabs for everyone that wants them. So now we're here to the main event. We're going to see if this boudoir photography business, the local and the city search, see what's happening for BSS, boudoir search sameness, see if it's in the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. All right, so we're going to LaPorte, Texas, and Houston. All right, LaPorte, Texas. All right, let's see. All right, going to the organics. All right, see what we got here. All right, boom, we got 1. Boom, we got 2. All right, so we've passed the BSS threshold. We do not have BSS. Boom, we got 3. All right, we've hit the GBC recommended minimum. Boom, we got 4. And all right, we got 4 out of 10 for local search good. So we don't have any BSS. We do not have, and we are hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. Perfect. That's exactly what we want to see. All right, now I'm gonna check here. Houston, Texas. All right, let's see what we got. Nope, nope, nope. No, all right, we are not. So we are not even showing up. So we're at 0 out of 10. So local search good, we're dominating that, and do not have BSS. We reached the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google. City search Houston, we are not ranking at all. We got BSS for that one, and we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you do the local search for yourself, you do the city search for yourself, you realize, you got BSS in one or both places, or you're not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search for either local or city or both. And you actually, now, since we put into words that page 1 equality belief, you're like, oh yeah, that is false. I didn't really think about it. There wasn't really a word or phrase for it before. So I don't know, I didn't really think about it at all. But now, since we got a name for it, oh yeah, that thing's definitely false. I definitely see, we can take as many slots as we want. And you understand the market saturation, the 3 prongs. 1, people get new phones. 2, people get new cameras. And then you also see, you're also foreshadowing, you have the foresight to see the third one, which is AI is taking way and way and way more people's jobs, more and more over time. And as that happens, more and more boudoir photographers are going to be forced to enter the market, becoming boudoir photographers, because they already got a phone, man. They already got a phone. And they've heard boudoir photography is high ticket. There's going to be more and more boudoir photographers entering the market, and you already know that because everyone already has a phone, a good powered iPhone, or some good powered phone to the camera. So there'll be more sellers, boudoir photographers in the market competing for the same number of buyers. But you also know that SQ'd methodology will allow you to fortify your position in Google page one and kind of prevent those new boudoir photographers from ever getting on page, those new entrants that come from AI taking people's jobs and still to earn money. They actually, are actually made to kind of like putting up levees for like, New Orleans has levees to keep the ocean out because it's below ocean sea level. Kind of like fortifying your levees, dominate as much as you can, take as much page one as you want with using S-cubed methodology. Because you see the big tsunami with photographers is going to be coming into the market as a result of AI. And so you see S-cubed methodology is the one path forward to solve BSS and prevent your position from eroding on page one, and actually take as many positions on page one as you want. And you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer, and you want to achieve boudoir search visibility because you need that on your way to become the number one boudoir photographer in your city. And in addition, you actually want the other two bonuses, back-end bonuses. One, which is, as we execute S-Cube's methodology, we're actually kind of building up thematic keyword columns attached to our brand. And as we build those up, build up the history, build up the thematic keyword strength and relevance connected to our brand, our website, our social profiles, then what actually happens is we increase the probability up here. We are shown as the only slot, the premium slot, the only one recommendation here in the AI overview. And that's premium placement. So every day we execute methodology, we're increasing the probability of this. And also in parallel in the back end, every day we execute methodology, we're increasing the probability AI apps, AI search apps recommend us. ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. We are increasing the probability these AI search engines rank us because we're building out these back-end thematic columns of keywords through using SQL methodology to, yes, saturate social search, yes, rank page one on Google, yes, kick out our competitors from page one on Google, essentially making them invisible to the bulk of the market, the approximately 80% that never even hit page two on Google. And yes, higher chance we get ranked AI overview at the top. And yes, higher chance we get ranked and pushed AI search. And last time I searched for boudoir photographers in the city, it was with ChatGPT, and it only displayed 3 to me. Literally 3 in that city. Had 60 or somewhere around there. So you want all these benefits, and you also know that you want to become a first mover in your city because for every day you execute SQ's methodology and all these benefits, fortifying your position of the oncoming AI, forced boudoir photographers entering the market, building up the back-end momentum for being recommended in AI overview and AI search apps. And every day we build that more and more and more. You're putting more and more space between you and all the other boudoir photographers currently in your city and in the city in the future, where they would have to do so much to catch up. It'd basically be impossible. So many people simply stop competing. And on the flip side, if some other boudoir photographer in the city were to work with me instead, because my plan right now is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, you would have to rederive S-cubed methodology on your own. And you wouldn't even know if you derived it correctly to even execute it correctly. And then you'd be having to go execute, and you wouldn't be confident because you wouldn't know if you derived it correctly. So you'd have to go ahead and execute. And if you equaled our execution, our volume of execution with your competitor, you would simply maintain the gap between us that would already have been created. And to pass us, you'd have to derive it correctly, execute it correctly, and probably double our execution every single day in order to surpass the progress, close the gap and then pass us with the progress and momentum we would already made, and kind of pull back that back-end AI search momentum from us, pull back the AI overview momentum for us. It's basically who's got the time. Dude, there's only 24 hours a day. Who's got the time to do all that? So you decided, hey, you're going to be the first mover. So if that's in your city, really set yourself up for success. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when my DM's open. My DMs are closed right now. The hospital is not currently accepting new patients, but when I am accepting new patients, shoot me a DM and we'll ask you some questions. We'll see if you qualify for the S-cubed methodology.